water supply. So we've got our loop water coming in and our cooling tower water coming in. And basically the most temperature change we can get is about 10 degrees out of these heat exchangers. We don't have thermometers on these, but they do have thermometers on the building automation system to show you what your temperatures are. As for maintenance, typically, if it started to fill with like a sludge and we're getting a serious pressure drop, then we would need to pull it apart. There is a sequence to pull it apart. There are some extra gaskets that will be in the attic stock for these heat exchangers. If you needed to isolate it, we've got isolation valves where it enters and exits from the heat exchanger. There are 4 valves here.
So those are what? Entrance?
These are, this is our in for our loop water. This is our out for our loop water. This would be our in for our cooling tower. And this would be the out from the cooling tower. So the cooler water from the cooling tower would come in. The warm water from our loop water would come in. The two mix together. It brings the temperature of our loop water down. It brings the temperature of our cooling tower water up. The water would go back up to the cooling tower and cool back down. We do have another heat exchanger.
If they need to take those apart, would they do that or would you do that?
I would recommend getting a professional to do that. They are very tricky. There are numerous plates. I don't know exactly how many, but there are a lot of plates. They have to go in a certain sequence, and they have to be positioned the correct way, or it will not work. We do have another heat exchanger over here. This heat exchanger is for our heating water and our loop water. In the winter time, our loop water is cooler. We would absorb heat from the heating system. We've got our heating water coming in here, heating water coming out here, our loop water coming in down here, our loop water coming back out here. These each have thermometers on them. Our heating system is not on right now because it is summertime. It is July 20th. To isolate these, we have the isolation valves for each set of pipes here. Each one of these ones has a thermometer. We don't have thermometers over there. I'm not sure as to why, but I do know that there are temperature sensors on the building automation system. Again, same thing with this. If you start noticing water dripping, we could have an obstruction which has, with that pressure, it has pushed the plate apart possibly. We're starting to get a leak on the ground. That would be a good indication that we've got an issue with the heat exchanger. It would be time to shut it down, isolate it, pull it apart, and see what we've got going on.
Do you ever need to let the water out of those valves to kind of clean it out? Would that help maintenance issue?
You can flush these. There isn't a time frame in the manufacturer's spec as like how often to clean them. As long as we keep the system clean, this should be fine. However, if we did get some contaminants in there, we'll start getting some pressure drop issues. You might not see your temperatures making the changes that they need to be making. That could be an indication that we're starting to plug up or foul the heat exchanger plates. Which at that time we would need to shut it down, pull it apart, clean all the plates, put everything back together. They do come with an extra gasket set that we will be providing for attic stock. They do have a 5-year warranty on the heat exchangers. Biggest thing is just making sure our system is clean, and that would go back to, you would notice it first on our pressures on our pumps. If they start to decrease, we'll probably have an issue with the plug strainer. The strainers that we've got in the system, we should be able to catch enough of the debris before it ever gets to the heat exchanger.